Kazera Global is an AIM-quoted investment company. It's focused on developing early-stage mineral exploration and development assets towards meaningful cash flow and production. Its three principal investments are alluvial diamond mining through Deep Blue Minerals in South Africa, heavy mineral sands mining through Whalehead Minerals, and tantalite mining in southeast Namibia. Dennis Edmonds is the chief executive. He joins us now. So Dennis, a lot of momentum in the business in 2024. What do you put that down to? Management changes, progression of the assets, strategic shareholders, all of the above?
Hi Sarah, good to be here. I think 2024 has been a very good year for us. We've achieved what we aimed to do in the year. One of the big problems that we had to overcome was we needed to get the approval of the nuclear regulator in South Africa, and that took some time to do. But we've achieved it, I think it's a combination of the commitment from the people on the ground in South Africa, commitment from people in the UK, and a focus in terms of just getting where we wanted to go.
So we like commitment. We also like milestones, because last year there was the start of diamond sands mining and processing at Deep Blue Minerals. That represented a major milestone for the company. So what's the plan for Deep Blue?
Deep Blue is very integral to what we do. We can't mine heavy mineral sands unless we can mine diamonds, and we can't mine diamonds economically without being able to make money out of heavy mineral sands. So the two work very much together. I decided to put diamonds to one side slightly to focus on the heavy mineral sands towards the end of last year. Now we've got to a situation where the heavy mineral sands are sorted. We will now focus on both diamond and heavy mineral sands production from yesterday, in fact, going forward. So, yeah.
Okay, so that's nice and current. But what about the heavy mineral sands production at Whalehead Minerals, given the strong indications that you received regarding your national nuclear regulator permit?
Just everything is going exactly according to plan at the moment, in fact slightly ahead of plan. We are producing heavy mineral sands as we speak. That is going really well. The plant that we've had built or built ourselves, it's a combination of the two, is working exceptionally well. So we're really pleased with the way things are operating on the ground.
So you have said in the past that this development, Whalehead, is expected to generate significant cash flow. What do you mean by significant?
Well, where we are at the moment is that we are anticipating producing ultimately around 6,000 tons of product a month. And we would expect our profit on that there to be $50 per ton or more. So that's a pretty substantial cash flow for a small AIM company. But it doesn't take into account the bigger picture, which is the adjacent beach at Perdevlei. So there's an enormous amount to come in the future.
And part of the bigger picture is the relationship with the sales and offtake partner, Fujax, South Africa. They're not likely to renege, are they? Is that relationship tight and solid?
It's a very new relationship, but we've spent a lot of time negotiating, and they have been really good, and they've been very proactive. And they're based all over the world now, and they have very good contacts. So and they've got companies with whom they've been working for numerous years. So let's see. But I have every confidence it's going to be a long and fruitful relationship.
Excellent. Now, Whalehead mining right application for the Perdevlei, if I'm saying that correctly, for the Perdevlei high heavy mineral sands. Describe the size of the opportunity there, and how hopeful are you that the mining right will be awarded?
Right. The area we've applied for is about 3,000 hectares. That there, just to put it into context, what we've got at Whalehead is 5 hectares. So, it's enormously bigger. 600 times bigger, I suppose, if you want to. That doesn't all mean that it's all heavy mineral sands. And what we've done is we've focused on a very, very, very specific couple of beaches, which total 138 hectares. 138 hectares is still 34 times, 168 hectares, sorry. That's 34 times bigger than what we're really doing at Whalehead. So just focusing on those there, and that's the initial focus. There's absolutely no reason why we couldn't do other areas as time goes on. But what we've specifically focused on is areas where there will be minimal environmental impact and where the quality of the sands is most similar to what we're dealing with at Whalehead. So we're looking at something which is an operation 34 times bigger than what we've currently got at Whalehead, and where the process will be exactly the same as at Whalehead. So,
when a business increases its stake, it usually indicates confidence, and you've increased your stakes in both Whalehead and Deep Blue to 70% and 74% respectively. Is there potential to increase that further?
Sarah, the balance of the shares are held by Black Economic Empowerment Partners. They can sell their shares if they want to, but we have the deal that we've taken over from Tectonic was one where they owed Tectonic a substantial amount of money to acquire that percentage. We've taken over that debt, and we've taken over Tectonic's rights. So it's very much a question of what our Black Empowerment Partners would like to do. We're always open to approaches, and it might well make sense for both of us. We'd like to see our Black Empowerment Partners, be successful and get something out of this. And there are numerous ways of doing it, and one of them might well be to exchange their shares in the subsidiary for shares in Kazera.
I'm interested in Catalyst Capital, whose support made it possible to complete deals with Whalehead and Deep Blue. So what's that relationship like with Catalyst Capital? Significant shareholders, long-term shareholders?
Yeah, ever since I joined pretty much the board of Kazera, they've been a sort of 29% shareholder. So they've always been a very, very big part of the shareholder base for Kazera. We're incredibly lucky. We've got both Catalyst and we've got Tricata, which is the company with which our chairman John Wardle is associated. And when we've needed to acquire something, or we needed additional money, they've both been prepared to put their hands into their pockets and to fund it on terms which worked for shareholders. There have been times where I've wanted or needed a bit of extra money, but haven't wanted to dilute shareholders, because I believe that we're sort of on the edge of an inflection, which I think has been proven recently. And being able to borrow that money by way of a loan has been beneficial. So having shareholders who not only have a substantial stake in the company, but who have the faith in the company to back that stake has been enormously useful.
So you say that you're on the edge of an inflection point. I'm just wondering if anything could spoil that, because I'm thinking about the sale of Aftan to Haibei Xingshan. Now, that was announced over 2 years ago. There's $9.5 million outstanding. So can't you just cancel the transaction and keep any monies received to date? Because otherwise the asset's in limbo and it's messy, it's untidy.
Yeah, that would be a possibility. Just let's run through that, though. If we were to just cancel and keep the money, we would also then end up having to take on the mine. That would mean we'd need to be putting resources into that mine in Namibia, which would mean we'd need to be either raising more money to do that or finding another way of doing it. The other alternative is for us to do what we have done, which is to institute arbitration proceedings against Hebe for payment of the balance of the money which is owing to us, which together with interest amounts to $10 million odd. And that way we get paid out. Hebe get what they actually contracted to get, which is the mine, and we then have an additional cash lump sum available to sort something out. And the answer is probably that the solution will be something which is a combination of the two.
And when might there be a solution? Because it seems to be weighing heavy on retail investor minds.
Yeah, I'm not sure it is. It was a really important part of the company a while ago because of the amount of money involved. As we now move into production, as we now move into generating profits, and as we move into Perdevlei license being granted, it becomes less and less important. I'm sure we'll get it resolved, and in answer to the timeline, I think it'll be in the first half of this year, probably earlier than that.
Okay, just a couple more.
It won't be earlier in the first half of this year, but it'll probably be earlier in the first half.
Understood. Right. Just a couple more questions, Dennis. You've always said that if the cash position is appropriate, then further acquisitions would be considered. So anything of interest out there, particularly as there's increased competition for decent projects?
Sarah, you're obviously right, but there's also a lack of cash in the market. So there are some fantastic projects available. Right now, our focus is on doing what we said we were going to do, which is to get Whalehead into production, profitable production. Focus on getting the extended area of Perdevlei, and then we have a very, very different looking company. At that stage, well, and depending also on what's happened in Namibia, we will be looking at what we do. Either we identify assets and invest in them, or possibly return money to shareholders. I've never seen Kazera as being a bank, so I don't ever want to sit in a situation where we have an enormous amount of cash and no idea what we're going to do with it. I would rather return the money to shareholders, and if we have a project which then needs that money, we'll go back to the market and raise it, and we'll have a base of people out there who have confidence in us, who I'm sure would support us.
So finally,
having said that, obviously if there was a deal, then we'd do a deal, but it's got to be the right deal. It's got to make us money. It's got to be good for the company and good for shareholders.
Apologies for interrupting, Dennis. The final question is, what is it that Kazera Global is good at?
I think we've been really good at being persistent. It's been a hard few years. There've been a number of difficulties. The guys in South Africa have had enormous mountains to climb. We haven't given up, and we had a very clear idea of where we were going. And we've had a very clear idea of how we were going to get there. And I think if there is any great strength in Kazera, that is it. It's identifying where the goal is and getting there despite the obstacles.
Excellent. Dennis Edmonds, Chief Executive of Kazera Global, thank you very much indeed for joining us today.
Thank you, Sarah.